classified documents, and experimental ships. These are two additions I never expected Wargaming to push for into random battles in 2025, I'll be completely honest. And I think Wargaming could be doing a better job with some other stuff instead. G'day fellas and welcome back. Today I just want to talk through some of the things that I think Wargaming should be doing and should be focusing on instead of going ahead and trying to implement these classified documents and experimental ships into random battles for World of Warships in 2025. Now, those features are currently live on the PTS server, so if you want to download the test server, go for it. You can mess around with them. I'm not showing gameplay from that today because, unfortunately, when I've been playing out of the few games I played, on the enemy team and my team, it was about half filled with the Wargaming bots, so it's hard for me to really give an accurate impression about the balance of things within. The concept I'm not a huge fan of. I don't necessarily agree with the fact that we need classified documents into random battles. I do think for operations and stuff, they're pretty cool. And I do like spicing operations up a little bit there. But it's not something I agree with. In saying all of that, I'm going to park that discussion for now because I want to talk about what I think Wargaming should be looking at doing and should be going for in 2025 instead. First things off the bat, if you guys have been paying attention, in some of the previous dev blogs, we've had some massive balance reworks to a whole bunch of different ships. Whether they be big, whether they be small, we've had some patches where there's just been, 20 ships or something that have been rebalanced. And I want Wargaming to continue doing that. Wargaming has a problem, and this has existed from when I was a CC for tanks, and it still exists now for World of Warships as well, is Wargaming tends to really take their time when it comes to rebalancing things. For example, the gameplay in the background here is me playing the unique upgrade Colombo. If you've been playing random battles lately and you've been finding the Colombo, you know how nasty thing this is with the legendary mod. Having 16 sap shells with this dispersion on this thing is quite frankly ridiculous. And obviously the ship was introduced when Deadeye used to be planned to be, I think it was either planned to be introduced or it was introduced when Deadeye was a thing. Deadeye got removed, this thing was kind of shit. Then they buffed the dispersion. And then they buffed it even more when we got the legendary mod for this thing. Which means you've got some pretty accurate sap shells on this thing. And, well, yeah. Goodbye, Jinan. But anyways, I want Wargaming this year to be really taking a much closer approach and I think a bit of a faster response as well. My biggest frustration when it comes to Wargaming going ahead and doing their balance patches is they tend to come every 3 or 6 months. And quite frankly, that's not fast enough for what I think World of Warships should be looking at. And when you have ships that exist in such a dominant state for an extended period of time, it kind of upsets things a little bit in terms of matchmaking and for some people's enjoyment. For example, I know obviously I'm in a favorable situation here. There's an enemy Patry Bulgon on the enemy side there. I eat them alive and there's not really too much they can do about it. The only thing they can do is just run. Sure, they found themselves in an unfortunate situation here, but they can't really do anything. And I just sit here and I free farm them. And is that really the best thing in the world? I mean, this thing kind of ignores armor as well on most battleships because sap. Is this good game design? I don't know. You tell me guys down in the comments. But anyways, I think Wargaming should, number one, be taking a much closer and heavy-handed approach in terms of their balance patches. I want that to be a bit more frequent. I don't necessarily think we need one major rework of a thing every 3 to 6 months. If there's a major concept, I would like to have more consistent, smaller balance patches. And I do think that needs to happen every 2 to 3 months. 1 month, I can understand, especially when it comes to early access stuff, if you just want to get people going ahead, trying to test some stuff properly on the live server in the meta. Same time, that's what you have your CCs and your super testers for. But I can understand waiting a month or so to get the data. But then after that, I think we need to be looking at doing some rebalance of stuff a bit more appropriately. Number 2. I think Wargaming could be doing another major overhaul to operations. And what do I mean by that? The biggest benefit to operations we had obviously in recent times was the fact that they made operations a lot more expansive in terms of, hey, you can take now pretty much any tier ships from above, I believe it's tier 6 through to super ships if you want to into operations. And that is a major win. I have enjoyed being able to sometimes just turn my brain off, or even just to a limited capacity, and go and fight in these operations. And that has been quite an enjoyable thing to do, and I do enjoy those operations. However, I think we could use a serious upgrade in terms of the different types of operations that are available, and the best way to be able to do that, in my opinion, is going to be giving players the ability to create their own operations. That is something I've been an advocate for several years now, and I personally would love the ability to just sit down and just be able to design and create my own types of operations for other players to be able to enjoy, right? There is a whole variety of different scenarios players can come up with. If you want to go for an historical route, for example, you want to try and take on, have your take on the Battle of Samar, for example, you want to go up against the enemy Japanese forces, like say a couple of Fletchers, and hell, if Wargaming lets us, give us Sammy B. Roberts as well. If you want to go for a more alternate, a more fictional type of scenario, maybe a scenario that never happened, give us the ability to create some of these operations, Wargaming, because I can tell you, a lot of people will enjoy it, and that some of the creativity that players can come up with, quite frankly, it's amazing. I just want the ability to be able to create these different types of things, because for someone, obviously, like if you guys have been watching for a while now, I do have a very keen interest into this history, and I just want to be able to recreate that, especially with how fantastic some of these models look in game. I mean, seriously, there is no other naval game that has models that look quite nearly as good as the World of Warships, and I want to be able to take advantage of that. So I would like to have more of these operations, and I would like to be able to design and create. Hopefully Wargame gives us the tools, but at the moment, obviously, it's not quite on their radar as a main priority. Third thing that I want to be talking about here. Now, everyone has been kind of fear-mongering about this, and this one's a little bit contentious, I will agree, but everyone has been saying with the classified documents being introduced into the game, oh, people are going to run these WoW's monitor and stat bots and stuff. I have always been a negative critic to those kind of tools. I don't know if you guys have ever played tanks, but when I was playing it, XVM was a very, very prominent thing, and it arguably still is. And that's obviously like a similar kind of story. It allows you to see player statistics in the actual match during the game. I don't like those tools whatsoever, because I do think they have a negative influence on people's perceptions and people's gameplay, and just increases the amount of toxicity in the game overall. I would like Wargaming to actually ban those type of mods. Now, if you disagree with that, let me know down in the comments as to why. But I personally don't think anybody should have the ability to be judging another person's stats of a ship or whatever during the game. If you want to check it afterwards, fine, you can go for it. If they have their profile hidden to private, so be it. But you should be able to go ahead and check that kind of stuff afterwards if you so want to. Not during the live game, because that just leads to people flaming each other in chat and all this other kind of stuff. I mean, you guys have seen when salty players have just started like trying to shame people's stats in the chat. That's just like, it's a bit weird, but anyways, I would like Wargaming to just disallow those kind of mods. I don't think they're needed at all. I don't think it helps anybody. If you're trying to track your stats for a particular ship, you can check that after each game if you want to. But if there's a very good reason as to why you think we should have those mods in the game, let me know down in the comments, because I've never seen a positive benefit to having them. Number 4, the biggest one for me, as I was kind of mentioning before, I really enjoy learning about this period of history. For me, I would love to just continue having more historical ships and stuff added to the game. Now, if you guys do remember in the Waterline, they kind of said they're going to have a bit more of a focus on historical ships and stuff, and that's good. I do want them to keep introducing these ships, and I would like to have some kind of player input into ships. What do I mean by that? If you guys have ever played War Thunder, they have got, say, on their forum, you've got a vehicle suggestion list that can be forwarded to the developers. So players will go ahead and they'll say, hey, for example, I want XYZ vehicle to be introduced into the game. People agree with it or disagree with it, and that can get forwarded on to developers for consideration to be added to the game. And I know a lot of vehicles haven't added via that way. I would like something similar to be added for World of Warships for consideration. especially because there's just a lot of historical ships with like some very famous names that we still don't actually have in the game. I do appreciate Wargaming recently going ahead and saying, hey, we're introducing these ships, these historical ships, and here are their kind of unique flavor and stuff. I'd like to see more of that, and I mean, that's really quite an important thing to me. The final thing I want to talk about is, holy fuck, Wargaming, can we have new maps already? I mean, seriously, when was the last time we had a new map for the warships? It has been far too long, and I really, really, really would just like to have new maps added to this game. The amount of focus on implementation of new ship lines, these different types of monetization events, I'm talking about, say, Wishing Wolf, for example, all these different loot boxes that get associated with coming through, and well, with all the early access stuff. I mean, if you take a look into the army right now, we've got, what, so many different containers there. There's a whole bunch that are associated with the current new events and everything. Can we have new maps? It has been ages since we last got a new map, and I think that would really, well, obviously help players and just be a benefit to the community. But anyway, anyhow, those are like my 4 top things that I want to see, 4 or 5 top things I want to see added to the game, fellas. If you guys agree with any of the stuff I've said, please let me know down in the comments. If I missed anything out that you want to be added to the game, please let me know. Otherwise, if you want to leave feedback regarding experimental ships classified documents, you can go onto the World of Warships official Discord and leave your feedback there, or log into the PTS and complete some of the surveys and leave your feedback there. Anyhow, thanks guys for listening to my ramblings for today. I do appreciate it. And, well, I hope to see you guys next time. Peace, everyone.